Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Monday Night Must See TV with the Hudson Valley Squares. Hope you're all doing fine. We were just joking how we long time no see. We all were hanging out together last night, having a little pre-Christmas celebration at the warehouse in Newburgh, New York, and here we are once again with our final picks of the year. 2023 is coming to a close. We've each picked out our favorite 5 releases, except for me, because of course I'm doing the daily show each and every day. So I'm going to give you 5 hard rock and metal picks that just missed my top 31, right? Because I don't want to give away my top 5 before I actually get to it at the end of the month. So I have 5 that I really felt bad that didn't make my top 31. They're going to be revealed tonight. So let me introduce the crew. We've got Count Ralph Tambora is here in the house. Mr. Craig Kaminsky drove 3 hours home last night in the rain, and here he is once again.
Champion.
That's right.
Yeah, really.
Right. Rob Lasanti is in the house. Our center square tonight is Karen La Preziosa. All of us Italians are represented. Butch
That's
Jones
right.
is wearing the Seahawks blue proud.
Go
Brian
Hawks.
Scow is here. And the Cans himself, Mr. Chris Canzaneri, is here. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
What's up?
All right. We're going to go round 3 times. Well, 4 actually, because we'll do honorable mentions, but we'll give 2 picks at a time. And hold on, that Franco guy is coming in. So
The audacity.
here we go. We'll say quickly, we'll throw him right into the fire. Here we go.
Yeah.
Nick Franco's
get him
here.
first.
All right, you're up, Nick.
You're up.
It's calling in from the moon. Getting signal, acquiring,
He's laying on the floor. He's
Yep.
laying.
Ground
hiding under a
control.
desk. Nick is connected
Nick
to
is
audio.
audio.
Oh, he's calling from like the caves of Jupiter here.
Hello.
There he is.
Oh, could
What's
you
up,
put the
Nick?
camera any lower, Nick? That's great.
Yes. Nick, you're going to go first. Seeing as
Thank you.
You're up.
Yes. We're going to give 2 picks at a time. So give us your number 5 and number 4.
Oh, all right. So I have some props, but not all. So my number 5 is a young band from Finland called Moonlight Sorcery. And while none of that should surprise everybody, they do dwell in the realm of black metal. Their album is called Horned Lord of the Thorn Castle. And
I'm interested.
despite all of that, they are they're young. These guys are from like the middle of Finland. They're probably maybe 30 years old. They have a few albums under their belt, and if you enjoy really virtuoso keyboards and really creative guitar solos, yeah, it's black metal. It's got the frosty vocals, but they really know how to write a song and compose it. And I think it has a little bit of something for everyone, not just black metal people. And they are brilliant. So I think they deserve some recognition. And then after that, we're going to go with another Finnish band. Let me get my props here that got blown all over the
Well, Nick, while you get that, the question I'm dying to ask you is can I read the logo of that first band?
I knew that was coming.
You kind of can. It's really beautiful artwork. It's like all mystical fantasy shit, but you can kind of read it. It's I think you'd like it. I really do. They're so brilliant. And it's really good that there's young bands coming up that pay attention to all the right things in metal, and that's instrumentation being first and foremost, that they can play their instruments and be really creative. So I think you'd like it. And the next one, I'm staying deep in the woods of Finland.
Of course you are.
I think the
course I-
Finnish consulate pays Nick like a little stipend.
Exactly.
Finland is unbelievable for metal, man. It really is. So this band is called Finn Wolf, which is easy to remember because, why not? I meant to translate the title. The title is in Finnish. It's the only album they have, and I'm not even going to bother attempting. Nope, we're not going to try. But as inaccessible as the title is, the music is surprisingly accessible. And the best I could put it is if like you took a bit of black metal and mixed it with down era Sentenced. Like they have that like almost goth rock flavoring going on, but ultimately it resides in black metal, but that's just because of the vocals. And again, this album, these guys just come out of nowhere. They're young and they're really, really, they'll probably never be as, well known because when everything's in Finnish, it really limits it. But as far as appreciating like excellent guitar rhythms and melody, like there's no blasts on this album. It's all rock and roll basically. And it's just a really wonderful, nice, sort of gothic creative band. And they're called Finn Wolf, and you should love them. And those are my first two.
Finn Wolf, not to be confused with Finn Troll, right?
That's what I was
Not
thinking.
to be confused, no trolls, just wolves.
Gotcha. All right. Wolves and Trolls.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Ralph.
All right. Chaos Horrific by death metal legends Cannibal Corpse. They're just one of the most consistent bands of all time. I forget what number album this is by them, but I love everything by them. They're always put out such a solid album. It's Eric Rutan's a great new addition for them. He helped recording them for years now. He's in the band. And my next one is Make Them Beg for Death by Dying Fetus. The super brutal, but really great for this kind of heaviness, and has a great flow to it. And another band that I love every album that they put out. That's it.
Yeah, that album's fucking the Dying Fetus album, Ralph, it's fucking good. It's heavy.
I can't believe they're still around.
They've been around for like 30 years now.
I know.
Good for them. You know, good for them.
They're getting bigger all the time. Every album they get a little bit bigger, you know.
That Cannibal Corpse
I
album.
made it through half the band quitting.
Luscious.
Yeah.
So good. All right, Craig.
All right, I got my visuals here. So
All right.
since I don't, all these things that I have, I don't have physical copies of. So, but my first one, it's actually kind of two. I'm not really pulling a Catino. It's just a partial Catino. So New York, one of New York's finest, the Dictators. They put out a couple of digital only EPs this year. So each one had mostly re-recorded older songs from their catalog, and then maybe a couple of covers. But the first one, where's it? How do I do it? Oh, here, open. It was simply called Thank You and Have a Nice Day. It's worth it for the price of admission. It's only $1. If you get the whole EP, it's like $3 or $4. And but it's a great punky rock and roll song from the Dictators. They still maintain two original members, Andy Chernoff on bass and vocals, and Ross the Boss, otherwise known as Ryan.
Ross Friedman.
No, but Ross the mother, as you say.
My brain's not working well. You gotta pick up the slack on me here.
Yeah, it's all right. But as you always refer to Ross the Boss, but on
Ross the motherfucking boss.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I took a minute. Yeah, I got what you're going.
And they have Keith Roth on rhythm and lead vocals, and they also have Albert Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult playing drums for them. But it's a great song. The rest of this has some re-recorded older songs. The other one that they put out this year is called Crazy Horses, and yes, it's a cover of the Osmonds song Crazy Horses, done Dictator style with Ross on some scorching leads on that. It's a lot of fun, and again, if you like their older material from the 70s, I think you'd be good with this one. My fourth pick is I went with Overkill Scorched, and really good heavy album. Again, just keeping the ball rolling with them, putting out quality releases. My favorite songs from this, I would go with the title track, Won't Be Coming Back, and Know Her Name. Those are my three favorites. It was kind of cool to meet. Well, it was cool to meet Bobby Blitz this year a handful of times out and about with you guys, and I think I was this close from being on a first name basis with him. But I don't. But alas, I don't think that he'll remember me next time that he sees me. But that's okay.
There's too many of us bald guys. We're all.
Yeah, we all kind
of just blur together.
Yeah, we're all interchangeable.
But a great album from Bobby, Dee Dee, and the gang, and good heavy album, and it was great to see them perform live earlier this year at the Chance when it was 1,000 degrees on the inside, but a fun show nonetheless. So those are my first two.
Cool. Rob.
Oh, wow. All right. So like I said,
when we were off the air, I said that this was a tough year. There's a lot of good music this year. I have to go with the first one, my first two from May. I mean, Elegant Weapons is right on the cusp of metal and hard rock. So but this album is great. I love this album. Ronnie Romero kills it on here. Richie kills it. They're all great on here. A lot of good catchy tunes on here. A lot of great soloing. One of my favorite albums from the year. My next one, Metal Church. I got to see him this year. I know you're gonna laugh at me, but it's the first time I ever saw Metal Church. So I've never had a chance to see them, and I saw them this year with Pete and Chris were there.
We
and,
almost melted into the night.
That was another hot one. I didn't make the Overkill show because I wasn't gonna stand in 100 degrees.
Overkill show was pretty
Greg
fucking
did.
hot.
But yeah, I know. I remember seeing
Pretty
a picture
fucking
of you guys. This album again, another great album. Mark kills it on here, of course, Kurt, and I mean all the songs. I was looking at over the songs today, and I'm like, this like not really a bad song on this album. You know, every song is pretty much killer, especially the two bonus tracks at the end. Holy mackerel, they kick your butt. I mean, they go out with a slam. You know, it's like slam dunk. So this album is definitely one of the best of the year. So those are my first two picks.
Excellent. Karen.
Okay. My two couldn't be any more different opening two. First, number 5 is Brian Jonestown Massacre. The Future Is Your Past. It's typical BJM. It's very psych, very retro, very Birds and Roger McGuinn. They have a couple of clunkers on here. That's why they're number 5, but they've got some great songs. All the Feels, The Light Is About to Change are 2 great tracks. It's standard BJM and it makes me feel pretty damn good. It's great psych music and they're, I think, the best at what they do in that genre. My number 4 band is Century, Conquest of Time. I saw Century over the summer or earlier. Anyway, they were really, really good. The best band on the bill. And there's 3 of them, I think. They're from Sweden, and very traditional metal, sometimes a little flashes of thrash, not too often, very much in the lines of Satan. The singer is great. I could listen to this stuff all day, all night. So Conquest of Time for Century, especially Century, highly recommend it.
I saw them down in Texas, probably
did?
right before you did. Yeah, at that festival I went to, and they were fucking great. Really good set.
I saw them with that saxophone band I was telling you about.
Right.
It was
Shitty
weird.
saxophone band.
It was a horrible saxophone band.
Weird mix.
Horrible.
So here, a funny moment before we get to Butch here. So I posted a little video from our little party last night, our little celebration party, and in that video, there was a quick moment where Butch was drinking a beer, and a lot of viewers picked up on that, Butch.
Well, I said something.
He corrected him right away.
Yeah, you're like, the bourbon's on the way. Everybody calm down.
Exactly. You start with beer. You got to open up the throat. You got to get things flowing.
Just warm it up.
Warm it
Yeah,
up,
nothing wrong with that. Friday's the spice of life.
and then you get into it.
There you go.
It was
Wait a
early
second.
too.
Butch is drinking a beer? No, that can't be. Yep.
That can't happen.
All right, Butch, you're up.
Every now and then.
Welcome, Steve Keeler. Steve's in the house.
Hey,
Hello, Mr. Keeler.
hey,
Steve,
but
are you in a time rush? You need to go now or no?
you can go. I'll go after you if I'm allowed to.
Well, go ahead, Steve. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
No, go. I'll listen to you, Butch. Go ahead.
Okay. So 5 and 4. So number 5 for me is a new band by 2 brothers, Canadian brothers, which is important because I love Canada. Withering Scorn, which is the 2 Drover brothers, Glenn and Sean, that were both in Megadeth and a whole bunch of other bands that they both have been in a ton of bands. And if anyone remembers, I think 2-3 years ago, Glenn had a great band called Walls of Blood.
Yep.
Which is heavy as fuck, and that's exactly what this is. This is just a straight up metal record. It's brutal. Great drumming, great guitar playing. It's also got the old bass player from Face Warning,
Joe
Joe
DiBiase.
There you
Yeah.
go. And Henning, I guess it's Bassi from that sang on a whole bunch of different things. I know him from Firewind, and he's been in a whole bunch of other bands as well. But that record is awesome. If you missed that one, which I think a lot of people did, it's a great record. And then number 4 for me is a record that I was excited to hear. I didn't know exactly what it would sound like in 2023 of this band, but god damn, Tommy Victor is angry. The new Prong record is just unbelievable. State of Emergency, god damn. Prong is back like with a vengeance. This could equally be up there with any of your favorite Prong records of their entire catalog. It's tremendous. Tommy Victor fucking hit it out of the park with this record. It's awesome. So yeah, those 2 are my 5 and 4.
Cool. Steve Keeler, 5 and 4. What do you got?
So you're doing 5 and 4. You're not doing them all at once. Okay. All right. So, all right, number 5. I didn't do much writing down or any notes. Is Cannibal Corpse with Chaos. Horrific.
Here you go.
Another strong record from Cannibal Corpse. And I think Pete reviewed it. My number 4 is, this could all change by next week because there's a bunch of records that are all hammering in, is Crypta with Shades of Sorrow, the Brazilian female death thrash, whatever you want to call it. Played this album a lot over the year, and that and the Cannibal could have changed, but I threw this together because I don't really have my list together, but I'm bad.
What
So I
the hell
threw
did
it
you come on the
together
show
just for
for
you.
then?
I don't know. Things are busy,
Oh,
man.
come on.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm not ready. I don't have this stuff, but
I'm
here.
never ready.
You put
I-
your picks in the chat.
I kind of did put my picks in the chat because I didn't think I was going to make it, and I really do got to leave in a little bit, but I'll hang out.
No, we're glad you did, Steve. So cool.
Good to
Nice
see you.
to see you.
All
I'm going to
right,
see your
Ryan.
Devils tomorrow too, by the way. I'm not tomorrow, Thursday.
Butch, I thought of you because I just saw a commercial on TV, and they are promoting the Oilers coming to all the local hockey arenas. And I
I
thought
will
of
be
you.
there.
Thought of you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Scow, what do you got?
All right, so we're gonna start in the land of Greece. This is the 7th album from one of the earliest Greek black metal bands, but at this point, to call them black metal is a bit of a stretch, but I guess that's the genre they came out of, so we'll go with it. It's like half black metal, a lot of old heavy metal. The band is Varathron. The album is called, you know what, I'm gonna take it out of the fucking
Yep.
plastic here, 'cause the glare is just gonna annihilate it. All right.
Yeah,
never
we're
mind.
not high tech like Rob and Craig.
Yeah, I should do that, but I'm lazy.
I gotta talk to that. That is cool.
There we go. There's the artwork right there. It's really cool. It's by Italian artist.
Cool.
I fuck up his name. Paolo Giardi. Hey, you know, I'm only
Hey.
25. I'm only 25% Italian. I apologize, and it's not. It's the stomach part. It's the eating part. Yeah, this is. These guys have always been great. The Mediterranean style of black metal, the Greek style of black metal, is worlds apart from that frosty Finnish shit Nick's always talking about, which I love too. But yeah, this stuff's much more rooted in like traditional heavy metal. You listen to this band from the beginning, it's way more like Celtic Frost, Merciful Fate. You could tell that they grew up listening to a lot of fucking Black Sabbath. And this album continues that. It's the only original member of the band is the vocalist Stefan. It's all otherwise newer guys, but you can't really tell that. They feel like a well-oiled machine. It's like these guys have been playing together their whole career. It's very melodic. It's very epic. A lot of keyboards in there. It takes you on a journey, which is really what I want from all my heavy metal. I won't even pick, actually all of these albums. I'm not even going to pick highlight songs because to me, if it's one of the top 5 albums of the year, every song's going to be a scorcher. And if it's not, then it doesn't deserve to be that high on the list. So number 5 for me is Varathron from Greece.
Excellent.
Then we're going to go to America, to sunny Ventura, California, with a 6th album from a band that's been around much longer than Varathron, been around since 1971. And that band is Cirith Ungol. They put this out just about a month, 2 months ago. It's called Dark Parade. These guys put out 4 stellar albums starting in the 1980s. It took them almost a decade to get an album out. Then they put out a couple great albums throughout the 80s, broke up for decades, and they were one of those bands that are like, I'm never going to see those guys. But they reunited a little over 10 years ago and have been just fucking killing it. I've seen them a bunch of times. They're always great. They put out a reunion album about 3 or 4 years ago for phenomenal. And then they followed it up with this guy. It's a little slower, a little darker, a little heavier, a little more doom metal than the early stuff. Very iconic. You know, the vocalist Tim, his vocals are going to be, I love him. I think he's one of my favorite vocalists, but it's divisive. I'll say that it's a divisive singer, but I'm okay with it. On every one of their albums, including this one, the great fantasy artist Michael Whalen did their art. He's done the art for tons of fantasy novels over the years. You know, he's up there with Frazetta, Boris Vallejo, as far as like well-known famous fantasy artists. So how these guys got him when they were like a little unknown band starting off, and then they've had him on every album since. Awesome. But yeah, the artwork for these guys is always really cool. So that is my 5 and my 4.
Killer album, killer band. Awesome. All right, we'll turn it over to the cans.
Okay. This list I had kind of like was going with these bands that I listened to in the 90s, and they like hadn't made great albums in a while, and they came out with new stuff this year that I really dug. And my first band is totally not that. It disappeared. Okay. There it is. This is a band called Drain. I think this is their second album. It's called Living Proof. This is not from the 90s, but man, this album, when I play this, I feel like I'm standing in the Tower Records on Sports Arena Boulevard in San Diego in like 1991, flipping through the fucking bins. It's just, you know, it's crossover thrash, but it's, you know, California surfer shit. It's heavy as hell. It reminds me a lot of the first Prong album, you know, that kind of thing. You know, they're little snotty kids, and they're doing a good job with this one. But you know, my number 4 is the new Prong album, which just fucking smokes. You guys already mentioned it. I was very surprised when I put this on. I was like, man, they are back. I mean, the last one, I think their last album was like 3 or 4 years ago. And I wasn't, you know, I don't really remember anything about it, but I have a feeling I'm going to be listening to this one for a while. This thing kicks ass. Prong are back, just like Butch said. So that's 5 and 4.
All right. All right. So I guess my number 5, and again, these are not my top 5, but these are the ones that just missed my top 31, but really good albums. Going to go with the latest from Alice Cooper, Road. Another really good, fun, solid, hard rocking album from Alice. I mean, this guy is like the ageless wonder. He just comes out with one after another after another. I'd say this is probably his most fun album in the last like 3 or 4. It rocks. A lot of good songs on here. There's even one song co-written by our own Jim Bakke. Very, very cool stuff. That's my number 5. My number 4 is a very cool band. They're a power trio now. Female vocalist. She's the bass player. Hippie death cult. Helichrisium is the name of the album. Awesome doom, heavy psych, retro, heavy rock. Awesome stuff. Big, big riffs. Great female vocals. Tons of groove. Just a really, really fun, heavy as hell album. Hippie death cult. That's my 5 and 4. We'll go back to Nick, who's not there.
Next.
Ralph.
He has vanished.
God, Ralph, we'll turn it over to you then.
Next, I got the new incantation, Unholy Deification. These guys just always put out great stuff. I get everything. I don't have to like hear it first. I run out and get it as soon as it comes out. John McEntee on vocals has just gotten better every year. He's more comfortable as the vocalist, and he seemed to have a little bit more range this time around. And I love the production of it. They've just been on a roll lately. The last album was amazing. Now they come back with another great one like this, but one of the best ones of the year. And then my next one is Autopsy's newest one. These guys are the legends, and they're still doing it old school. They didn't get all slick production. They're not, and they got like sometimes a carnivore vibe and meets Black Sabbath meets brutal death metal. It's classic Autopsy. I never get tired of these guys. another band, as soon as they put something out, just go out and get it because it's gonna kick ass. Autopsy.
And just a little preview, we have been talking to Chris from Autopsy. He is going to be coming on SOT probably sometime in January, and a couple of us here on the Squares will be talking to him. So stay tuned for more information on that in the coming weeks. So,
Very
all right,
cool.
we'll circle back to Nick, who was MIA for a couple minutes there. You're on mute, buddy.
On mute. He's on mute.
Mute. I'm mute.
The phone screws me up. When I'm on the computer, I'm good. Sorry about that. Yeah, so my number 3, I'm going over to Germany now to this thrash outfit called Cruel Force. They've been out for a long time. They only have 2 other full lengths. They haven't put out a full length since 2011. And they just came out with their 3rd album, and it's called Dawn of the Axe. And let me tell you, if you could mash together the first Slayer album and the first Exodus album and make it sound fresh, and I don't know how to. They're amazing. It's real dark thrash. It's fucking outstanding. Every single song just kicks you right in the nuts, and they're really something else. I really hope they can like tour around here because they're fucking amazing. And then my number 2, well, I have so many that it's hard to like figure out what the number 2 I'm gonna go with is. So I'm gonna probably change this up like Keeler was saying, but I'm gonna go with a bit of an album I had a little lower, and I have it right here. And it's old stalwart favorites of mine, Enslaved. Their album Heimdall. They are way proggier, and man, they're more like Viking black metal Rush. Like they just they're really just spacey, and they are fucking like they're just operating on a level that they've been around since the very early 90s. This is what their logo used to look like. They're all this crazy black metal. Pete and I have talked about them on the channel, and Keeler, a number of us like them, but they've matured, but I don't think they've lost any of the wonder that goes along with their compositions. And the music is just really, really, it's like a fucking spacey trip with some heaviness still in there. So I'm gonna go with that as my number 2. I mean, I have plenty I could choose from, but we'll go with the old Norwegian favorites there.
Awesome album.
Yeah.
Really good. All right, where are we? Craig.
All right. Go back to mine. So that I had my next one was one that Pete gave a glowing review to it on one of his Wednesday reviews. And so you really do when you watch these, it's like, hey, what the heck, I'll give something a try and see if it's good. And this is a band from Sweden, stoner sort of rock, and I went with Tidal Waves, The Lord Knows. Really, really fun album, good crunchy riffs, clean vocals, and just a real fun listen to from beginning to end. And you're in and you're out, and I believe in less than 40 minutes. Favorite songs would be End of the Line, Lizard King, and Thor Secure, which is one of the last songs on the album. But just really good if you like that stoner rock with a European edge to it, but nice, but with good vocals and still with those crunchy doomy guitars that most of us love. My number 2, I was surprised just as much as Chris and Butch was, and I went with Prong's State of Emergency as well. I really was surprised how much I enjoyed this, and just the delivery, the style, just the aggression, that's in it. My favorites, the title track, State of Emergency, Non-Existence, Breaking Point, Who Told Me, and it ends with a really, really good cover of Rush's Working Man that is very faithful to the original, but about half the length. So really solid album from Tommy Victor and the guys, and look forward to seeing some more from them.
Rob.
All right. Well, I got to go with it's funny because I'm listening to Brian and I'm listening to Nick, and guess what? Number 3, Now, I got to be honest with you, come clean. I never really knew these guys. I know I heard of them, but I never heard until, I don't know if it was you, Pete, or somebody told me about them, and I played it and I fell in love with it right away. Now, you were talking, Ryan was talking about the vocals. Yeah, it's a little raspy, it's a little different, but I have no problem with the guy's vocals. But the guitar work on this album is incredible.
Yeah.
Riffs are great. Really, really surprise album for me. You can always go with everything else that's out, but I try to listen to new music all the time. For me, this was new, totally new. But what was the same was my number 2 album. I've always been, in the last 20 years, I've been to heavy music. I mean, for me, this is heavy for me. I know you guys, some of you guys, you're into the heavier stuff, but I love this album. This album it came out back in March and kicked my ass the whole year. And every song on here is great. I love the whole album. The next album, my number 1 album, I could have went back and forth, but this was definitely number 2. As I said, one of the better albums of this year that I must have listened to this at least 20 times, so that's how much I like it. Because I can't always, like you, Pete, you listen to a lot of music and sometimes you just can't listen to the same album over and over and over. I could with this album. This is such a great album.
Rob, the keyboards, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The keyboard,
everything about it. The slow passages, the heavy passages, everything about this album is just incredible. So I had that one.
I've been saying with Enslaved probably like 3 or 4 albums ago, man, this band is on such a roll. Will it ever end? And then they put out another one and another one.
Last album was great too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, Karen.
Oh, okay. My number 3 is Black Rainbow's Super Skull.
Yes.
I know it's such a great record. This was hard. It's getting down to it, so I didn't know what to 2, 3, whatever. I love the vocals on Black Rainbows. Guy's not a great accomplished singer, but he's good, clean singing, kind of just is layered over the psych and the keys and the guitar. The bass is so thick. My
groovy
favorite
as
song,
hell. It's groovy as hell.
Yeah, my favorite song is Pilgrim's Son. It starts off like really psych and floaty, and then it just builds up into like a crescendo of a huge riff and then some boogie, and then it settles down to some floaty, spacey stuff. It's totally my jam. So yeah, Black Rainbows, all their albums are good. This one doesn't disappoint at all. Super Skull is my number 3. My number 2 is Rise Above, I believe. Smoky Mirror, they're self-titled.
Great.
How much do I love this record? These guys are from Texas. They kick ass up and down the freaking block. They're like hard rock, really hard rock into metal, into, it blurs those lines sometimes, but it's just kick-ass rock and roll from Texas. It's self-titled. It's such a great record. Craig, I really recommend this one for you. I think you would really like it a lot.
Yeah, you would dig it, Craig. Really good, heavy, crunchy, stoner garage rock type. Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
Yeah, it's just
guitar player is amazing too. Yeah.
Right. And here I am again. They kind of get they do a lot of soloing. They do a lot of they even get proggy at points. And I'm here for it. I don't know what's happening to me, but I like it. I'm here for it. All the soloing and everything. I'm down with it.
Rise Above Records. Good, really good one. All right, Butch.
This is the most consistent band that I listen to. I think that this is either album 20 or 21. I'm not sure. But I can tell you, and that's I can tell you every one of their studio records, and they have like 3 or 4 live records as well in there, but there is not a dud record in this band's entire catalog. And we all have bands that we love, and we all have bands that we love that have records that like, but this band is yet to make a record that has disappointed me ever. And this is going back into the mid 80s. And that is a band from Japan, and it is not Loudness, it is Anthem. Anthem's record Crimson and Jet Black is just fucking rips. It smokes. I talk about the guitar player all the time, and I butcher his name all the time, and I try so hard to get it right, but I believe it's Akio Shimizu. However you say it, if I just killed it again, it doesn't make a difference. I know who the fuck he is. He fucking kills. He does some of the coolest lead work and riff work out of anyone I've heard in the last 25 years. He just is relentless. So yeah, that's an easy number 3 for me for is Anthem's Crimson and Jet Black. And then the coming back to the States, a band that gets no respect in the States that really pisses me off. They put out 2 records this year. I only picked one of the 2. I didn't think it was fair to give them 2 in the top 5 that they easily could have been, and that's Rival Sons. The first record that came out this year in June, Dark Fighter, is just excellent. If you like Rival Sons, you will love this. Everything that they do is just phenomenal. And it is such a shame. And I know it's never going to change in this country, unfortunately. They're such a talented band. Anyone that actually gives them a chance and listens to them loves them. They toured with Sabbath for a year and a half. And they get no respect in this country. It's a shame. And Jay Buchanan, the singer, the joke that I've said for years now, he's the greatest living singer in rock music now that's not named Glenn Hughes, because Glenn Hughes still to me is the pinnacle, and Jay Buchanan is right underneath him. Dark Fighter is a great record. If you haven't heard it, give it a shot. If you just like straight up hard rock in spots, classic rock in spots, definitely 70s flavored. But they're just an excellent band, and it's an excellent record. So Rival Sons, Dark Fighter, the first record that they put out this year, is my number 2.
And I'll go and say you got to have them both get Lightbringer, which is just as good. They're both amazing.
Absolutely.
Could have released them all one 70-minute long album, but I think they made the right choice in releasing 2 albums. And
yeah,
they're both great. I don't know if either one quite equals Feral Roots, which to me was a absolutely perfect album from them, but it's damn close. Both of them really good. So
yep.
Good choice. All right, back to Mr. Keeler.
That Rival Sons record is really good. It's on my list, but it's not my top 5. And I didn't even know they put out a second one until about 2 weeks ago.
Came out very quietly, actually.
They
Yeah,
came
it
out
was.
very quietly, and I even had a customer mention to me, "You got the new Rival Sons," and I said, "Yeah, this one." And and it didn't make any sense in my head that they would put out 2 albums in the same year on different dates with very similar covers too. One, they both have like cats in them, right? One's tigers or whatever.
Yeah.
So I still have to listen to the second one, which I'm going to do.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's very good. Very good.
I listened to the first one a lot. I
Yep.
played that in the store a lot. So I guess it's my turn to go into my number. What, 3 and 2 we're doing? That's how we're doing it. I see. I'm catching on as we go along. So I'm going to go with, and Ralph already picked the new Incantation. Of course, my good friend John McEntee. I got to see Incantation earlier this year too, down at the Philly Beer Metal Fest, and this is a great death metal album. It's like Ralph said, they keep getting better and better, I think. And what else can I say? But I didn't pick out any songs, but I don't listen to songs from albums. I usually listen to the whole things through. My number 2, a few other people picked it on this round, is the new Enslaved. I did see this tour at the Irving, seems like years ago, but I guess it was last March. They toured right around when the album came out. And Ivar wasn't at the tour last minute, stayed home, but was still great. Saw them with Insomnium. Insomnium's also in my list, but didn't make my top 5. So the Heimdall, I mean, I love Enslaved. I've loved all their stuff from the black metal days all the way through. They never disappoint. It's a great album to listen especially in the wintertime, go out hiking on the trails or something and put this on. Just perfect. We'll look at the album cover.
Yeah,
Great stuff. So that's my number 2.
awesome. All right, Ryan.
All right, so 2022, one of my favorite old new wave of British heavy metal bands, Satan, put out a new album, which fucking ruled. One of my favorite guitarists ever, Russ Tippins. Band that's cruising like late career high, like a lot of these bands we've been discussing, been around for decades. Not only that, Russ has another band called Tanith. It's a little less metal than his main band, Satan. And I'm going to put for my number 3 their second album, Voyage. So this band, it still has Russ's very distinct, awesome guitar playing, great rhythm, great leads. There's a little new wave of British heavy metal in this, but it's a lot of Thin Lizzy and a lot of like Wishbone Ash, that very kind of warm, melodic 70s, like just good, relaxing rock music. But it's not like tranquil, it's driving stuff, but it puts you in a good mood. So almost the same vibe that Thin Lizzy always gives me, like kind of the late 70s Thin Lizzy. A lot of it's very fantasy based. A lot of the lyrics are about like sci-fi, wizards, mountains, space travel, time travel, which is always cool for this kind of stuff. They'd have trade-off male-female vocals. In this case, right before they were going to record this album, their other guitarist quit. So in a pinch, they called in the guitarist from KMFDM and Blondie, who came in and helped them out in the studio. And man, their debut album from a couple of years ago was good, but this one smokes it. This is a phenomenal album. I'm putting it as my number 3, but honestly, it's probably my number 1 most listened to album this year. It's just every song is fucking great. It's just you can put it on any situation. It's just good, warm rock metal, a little more on the rock side of things, but yeah, phenomenal album. I was lucky to see them at St. Vitus in Brooklyn earlier this year. Right around this album came out, they played most of it, and just phenomenal set, great band, love them. Hope they keep going, keep putting out albums.
It's everywhere too. Like every chorus is so memorable.
Yeah, it's and the way they trade off between the male and the female vocals.
Really well done.
It's really good. Yeah, Russ is just, I don't know. He's not a young guy. He formed Satan in like 1978. Here he is all these years later putting out back-to-back albums with these 2 bands, and they're just, both of them are amazing. So hope Satan keeps going. I hope Tanith keeps going. Stay healthy, Russ. I love you.
Butch, have you heard that album?
What's up?
Have you heard that album, Butch? It's really good.
No, I've never heard of it before.
You probably would like this. Yeah, the Thin Lizzy-isms are. Oh shit! I forgot. You know what? I forgot I did this because my number 1 pick. I had to do this.
Nick told me about it last night.
I printed out little stickers.
I downloaded it, but I haven't been able to look.
See, this is my high tech. You guys have that fancy digital bullshit. This is my high tech. I printed out. So that's the band. My number 2.
I have heard of them.
I'm going to go back to the Mediterranean, but I'm not going to go to Greece. I'm going to go to Italy. My favorite Italian band, been around since 1986. This is their 6th album. Much like my first pick, Varathron, they're really only down the one original guy, the singer and sometimes drummer Walter. And that band is, I've talked about him several times in the show, but I'm going to talk about him again. Mortuary Drake. Black metal, but black metal with a lot of classic heavy metal. And obviously, I know a lot of you guys love classic horror movies. There's a rich tradition of like the old Giallo horror movies, bands like Goblin doing that very horror, musical, somewhat prog. So these guys have that feel big time. They don't sound like Goblin. They don't sound like they're going to belong in like a Fulci or an Argento movie, specifically, but it just has that feel to it, that old horror movie feel. Yeah. I'm going to go with this one. Again, every song's phenomenal. The production is a little cleaner and a little more crisp than I like from these guys. Usually I like the kind of like the dirtier sound in this stuff, especially my black metal, but it didn't ruin it. I'm still fine with it. Very, very clicky kick drums. Wasn't a deal breaker, but musically fucking perfect. Yes, my number 2 is Mortuary Drake, their second album, Black Mirror. Wait, hold on. Here's my fucking high-tech bullshit. There we go. Because I know what happens is whenever we're talking about albums that everybody knows, like ranking shows, all right, everybody knows Judas Priest. But a lot of these albums and bands, like a lot of people don't know. So it's going to be like, what band, I'll see in the comments, like, what band did Nick say, or what band did Butch say? So you guys putting the albums up on the screen too helps a lot. But I know I'll always forget too, like, man, what fucking albums are they talking about? So this is my high-tech solution. So my number 2 was Mortuary Drake, Black Mirror. from
Hey,
Italy.
Mom, that old brother P Touch came in handy all these years.
There you go.
Yeah, see, P Touch still selling, still selling.
Yeah. And hey, just so you know, I do own a Tanith record. I have in Another Time.
That's the first one.
Okay.
This one's better, although I like that one a lot.
Okay.
This one's it's the same thing, but they just got better at it.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. All right, Chris.
Okay, my number 3. This is a band that's been around for quite a while. I listened to them a long time ago, kind of fell out with them, and then they came out with a new record this year that I dig. This is called Purge by Godflesh. Back in the early 90s, if you listened to industrial music and you liked the heavy shit, this is where you wound up. These guys were the grittiest, darkest, meanest of that, of a pretty fucked up group of people. I mean, some of the bands weren't as heavy, but they all had a little something fucking loose in the head.
I agree.
My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, fucking Skinny Puppy. But these guys were a metal band, and they still are. This is right in their wheelhouse. This is the same kind of stuff they were always doing. It's just a new record, and it fucking kicks ass. I love it. I don't know the names of any of the songs. I put this on at the gym and just fucking go. So, if you like industrial music or you even want to know what it's about, just start with this record if you're new, because this is where you're going to wind up anyway. So enjoy. That's my number 3.
Good pick, Chris.
Thank you. Number 2. This is the latest record from a band called Kvelertak, which I think I pronounced it right. They're from Norway. They are a band that doesn't sing in English, which is kind of cool because the vocalist is kind of guttural, and he's a black metal style singer. He doesn't really shriek, but and actually this is a new vocalist, but he sounds like the old guy. I think this is the second album. But the thing about this band is every fucking song is just a hook-laden, tuneful banger. Just like I had a guy say to me once, it's like black metal Weezer, and I'm like, well, don't go that far. But every one of these songs is a fun rock and roll song, and this album is no different from all their other albums. If you've never listened to these guys, they're like a good entry into something a little more grindy and dark and extreme than your average metal. But there are hooks, there's choruses, there's a lot of fun that goes down, and this record is just like the rest of them. Every one of the records is great. This one's killer. It's called Endling, and it's by Kvelertak. So that's my number 2.
Great album cover.
Yeah, really. Cool.
Yeah, the guy from Baroness used to paint their covers. I don't think he did this.
Okay, the lead guy. Yeah. He's a good artist. Cool. My number 3 here is from Australia. This is a band who have not released a bad album, and this stuff is challenging to listen to, but I love them. Nea Blidiscaris, Exul, Season of Mist Records. Progressive metal, but man, this is like intricate and technical. You got growling vocals, you got clean vocals, it's melodic, it's epic. You got violin, you got shredding guitars, you got keyboards, everything. There's a ton going on, long songs, amazing production. There's choirs on here. I mean, just you talk about ear candy, like where every bit of your senses is being stimulated. That's a Nea Blidiscaris album. Exul is their latest. That's my number 3. And my number 2, I love Black Sabbath, right? I like good heavy stoner music. So let's get a little bit of both. Songs for Satan by Dope Lord. Awesome, awesome album. Crushingly heavy, mountains of fuzz, songs about weed and death and whatnot, and it just scratches that itch for like Master of Reality era Black Sabbath. So good.
Oh my
so
God,
heavy.
I can't believe you
All
picked
their stuff is
that.
so heavy. Yeah, it's such a great album. Really good. I mean,
Yeah.
the songs, Night of the Witch, The Chosen One, 1 Billion Skulls, Evil Spells, Worms, Return to the Night of the Witch. I mean, who doesn't love song titles like that? And the artwork is great too. But yeah, all their albums are really heavy and crushing, and the latest one is no different. So, Songs for Satan by Dope Lord, my number 2. Back to Nick.
All right. Great stuff, guys. So, am I off mute? Yes. So my number 1, here we are. To the surprise of no one, is Ireland's Primordial.
I'm shocked.
I know, but you know
Can't
what's funny?
believe
Like
it.
something becomes your favorite band, right? So you know, do you elevate it constantly because it's your favorite band, or does it stay your favorite band because they fucking put out unbelievable shit? With Primordial, it's they put out unbelievable shit, and this album is called How It Ends, which luckily is not meaning that they're going to end. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw the title get released. But Dublin, Ireland's finest had done it again. Epic, unbelievably fucking morose, but fist in the air, heavy metal. You know, I mean, sometimes they get lumped, they get called black metal, sometimes they get called folk metal. I really don't think they have either one. I really don't think they fit in any categorical box.
Not
And
anymore, anyway.
no, yeah, and like the vocals are just, you know, to the level of ridiculousness. Like he's just such a damn good vocalist. He can scream, he can sing, and you know, for his forceful, clean vocal that's like really forceful and epic has gotten so good, and the emotion level that you feel when you listen to this, I mean, you'd have to be fucking dead with no pulse not to feel something from this shit. The title track, unbelievable. Real defiant songs like "We Shall Not Serve," and then there's real like you know, doomy shit too in here. So it's got a little bit of everything, and easily my favorite album of 2023. How It Ends by Primordial on Metal Blade Records.
And I can
Yes.
read it.
And you can read it. And you know,
You can
pretty
read it.
much all
Very
the
easily, too.
lyrics. Yeah. Oh, Butch, telling you, man, the guitar leads, Charon, I think Charon, I always say his fucking name wrong.
There's a lot of
McGuigan,
that going on.
the guitar player,
Mhm.
some of the most emotive leads and riffs you'll ever fucking hear. These guys deserve every accolade.
Such a hard band to describe too. I struggle all the time with talking about Primordial because
It's like
they don't sound like anybody else.
yeah, it's like describing Voivod. Like, what do Voivod sound like? They sound like Voivod.
Mhm.
What do
They sound like Voivod.
Primordial sound like? They sound like Primordial. You know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Hey, Nick,
Yes.
I do have a Primordial record, believe it or not. Actually, I have, wow. I thought I only had one. I have three.
It's because I've been subliminally
yeah, for
No,
years.
this is before you.
before me.
I have The Gathering Wilderness,
Mm.
Good album.
Redemption at the part. What is
Puritan's
it? Puritan's Hand,
Puritan's Hand, also good.
and to the Nameless Dead.
Those might be their three best.
Great album.
Beautiful.
That is chef's kiss.
There you go.
Wow.
Very cool. All right, Ralph, you're number one.
All right. So I'm going Hudson Valley Squares. I'm picking a band from the Hudson Valley. This came out February 3rd. All Out War, Celestial Rot.
Yes.
A month later, they appeared on the cover of Decibel magazine. And now I'm going to pull a Chris Allo because I got the CD. Then I got this version. I got this version. This version.
Wow.
This one.
Jeez. I like the green one.
This one.
Wow.
This one.
He's like a
Come on,
magician.
that's crazy.
That smokes Aloe, because Aloe has that many versions of an album that came out 50 years ago.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not one of those people that would buy fucking multiple copies of the albums. I got these all gifted to me because I mentioned before on the show that I got to do like guttural backup vocals on the album. So when it came out, they gifted me all of them.
Oh, that's
I
so
never bought
cool.
multiple copies.
Oh,
I
that's
get-
why your voice is all scratchy.
All right, cool. So how many copies you got in total that will all there? We got 8.
7, and I got the banner behind me. I got a couple patches for the album. Got the magazine.
All right.
Very nice.
Nice. All right. Where are we? Craig.
All right, my number one is Karen. We are this, and I went with Black Rainbow's Super
Yes.
Skull. I mean, it's heavy, like getting hit in the head with a manhole cover, and yet groovy. You know, with that just that you get into it. A good song for the gym, like Chris was saying, for one of his earlier picks. Favorite songs: Superhero, Dope Proof, and Apocalypse March, Lone Wolf, Desert Sun, a lot of just really, really fun songs from this that just keep your attention and just they're heavy, but yet have some melody and groove to them as well. Karen, you should, maybe you'll have to recommend me some other of their albums, because I know they have at least what 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, there's a
so.
lot.
And again, this was also one where Pete gave a review of this. I never heard of this band before, and it just on a Wednesday, and it's like, well, what the heck? I'll give it a spin and see what it sounds like, and I really enjoyed it. So those Wednesday reviews, people, are really quite important. So check those out. But yeah, my number one, Black Rainbows.
Nice choice. Yes.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, Rob.
It's funny that you said that though, Craig, because I watched the same show and I love that, and I downloaded a lot of the older stuff too, and it's all group. I mean, the guitar work on it, especially if you like guitar work, because being a guitarist myself, I fell in love with it right away. So definitely something to pick up.
Yeah, start with their first one. Start with Hawk Dope.
Yeah, man.
I love that song, Hawk Dope. It's awesome. So I think it's a great way to get into them. It's the first record.
So my number one for this year is Insomnium. This album I never get tired of either this year. I listened to it today, in fact, again. I must have listened to it like 5 times this week. Godforsaken. I mean, I'm looking all the songs. I usually like highlight what songs I really love the most. I mark them all. So every song on here is great. And Insomnium's been doing it for the last few albums. I mean, every album come out, I just love them all. To me, it's one of the great bands from Finland, and they haven't put out anything bad at all. And there's other albums out there, and I love a lot of different albums this year. But again, like I said, I go by what always draws me back into something on listening and on a repeat listen, and why I play it. And I think somebody mentioned about going, a lot of times I will put this on when I'm going walking, especially in the wintertime. I love this kind of music when I'm walking in the winter, when it's cold and it's gray out, like behind me here. And I don't know, just does something for me. So
he was one of the first people I interviewed when I started doing a little bit of the journalism with the interviews. Nilo Savanen, the singer of Insomnium, was one of the first guys I ever interviewed. What a great guy. What a great interview. It was for Shadows of the Dying Sun, the 2014 album.
Yeah.
And
another great album.
Guys, they're awesome.
I mean, this is when you listen to an album like this, you're listening to musicianship. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys know how to play music. I mean, the guitar work, the keyboards, the sing, everything. It's just amazing. And then, I have a couple guests on here that sing, and it's just an amazing album. So if you're into
Rob, he has one of the more emotive death metal vocals. Like, there's something about his vocal which is very like shrieky and death metal-y that somehow evokes so much emotion. It's really unique in that sense. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Karen, number one.
Church of Misery, Born Under a Mad Sign. Of course. I mean, you guys knew that was coming. It's a great record. It's a great record. 7 songs. Best song was, my favorites are Beltway Sniper and Butcher Baker in particular. Church of Misery is so consistent. Be it the lyrical content, they don't change, even though the lineup changes constantly. Tatsu is the one remaining member, one consistent member, and the songs are great. I just love it. To me, it's the epitome of doom. It really is. It's a fucking doom metal record with fucking doom metal lyrics. The vocals are eerie. Those riffs are as heavy as can be, and the bass is just free. I'm telling you, any Church of Misery, this one is my favorite of the year. Born Under a Mad Sign, you won't be disappointed. Pick it out.
Great album. Big Black Sabbath Monosaurus riffs and lyrics about serial killers. Doesn't get better.
Can't go wrong with that formula.
Great choice. Butch, number one.
Well, in 2006, you tasked me with reviewing a band that I had never heard of before. Was an interesting name of the band, and I instantly fell in love with that band. And I would have to say I'm probably the biggest fan of this band that doesn't live in Oklahoma. The band is from Norman, Oklahoma. The band is called Train Dodge. You guys, none of you have probably even heard them before. This is their 12th release. They have I don't know how many albums and how many EPs, but altogether this is number 12. I have them all. Like you guys had just said, trying to figure out a way to describe them. They definitely have an now. See, when to me this is a bad word. The word alternative is a bad word, because I know if someone says to me a band's alternative, I think bad things. And this isn't. I say alternative meaning like vocally, it's not a traditional. I mean the vocals are clean, but it's not like a traditional great singer vocals. Alternative has always had guys that had like a quirky kind of vocal to them, and that's kind of what they have about them, but it makes the band. They're definitely a hard rock, metal at times, alternative always mixed in there, but they're just a great fucking band. And I can honestly tell you, I don't think I would have ever found out about them had I not written that review 17 years ago.
17 years ago.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I remember the album I had to review for them was an album called Wolves. And like I said, there's a heaviness to them, but there's a quirkiness. So maybe I should say quirky instead of alternative. But there's definitely a quirkiness to them. They are just an absolute great band. I talk about them all the time, especially in the butcher shop. I post stuff all the time about them, trying to get people to hear them, because I know, you're not going to go on a radio station or wherever you go to hear new music these days. You're not going to just run into them. But if you hear them, they're awesome. And like a lot of bands, they just need to be heard. They're all 98% of the bands that we've talked about today, all of us, are all bands that are underneath the radar. I mean, like Karen just said, oh, you guys all know this was going to be on, and then you say the name of the band, I'm like, who the fuck are they?
Oh, yeah.
Also
But-
from Japan, Church of Misery.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
But yeah, Train Dodge, the name of the album is called The Alley Parade. I love this band so much. I mean, like I said, in 06, after getting that, I'm like, who the hell are these guys? And you're reading the one sheet trying to get information about them, like Norman, Oklahoma. Like, how are any other bands are from Oklahoma? And they're just, I couldn't have seen it coming. I just love this band to death. Like I said, they're not a metal band. They definitely, I could call them a heavy rock band, a hard rock band. But they're just awesome. I love them to death, and I was so happy that this record was coming out, because it's been a few years since they've put out a full length. They put out a couple of EPs over the last few years and stuff. But man, the pride of Norman, Oklahoma, Train Dodge.
There is the review.
Oh shit! See,
Found it, huh?
told you.
You
There's
found
the
it.
review.
And
Alex Jones, February 5th, 2007.
2007. Oh shit. Okay.
5-star review.
Yeah. And looking up, the record came out in 06. It came out on my birthday, May 1st, 2006. So we were a year behind, almost a year.
16
that's-
years.
I love that. I love that band. I'm telling you, if you've never heard Train Dodge, just put it in on YouTube, and whatever comes up, just click on it and play it. Great.
All right. Steve.
What's up, everybody? So, my number one album is far above any other album from this year that I've listened to the most. And it's a band that's kind of like religion to me. It's a 12th studio album by the band Catatonia. Jonas Rensky, of course, the vocalist, who I just think is amazing. They take like darkness, depression, and he puts it to words. And I've followed this band for years. I got to see him a couple weeks ago up in Connecticut when they did the Spotify rap for this year. Birds was a song that I listened to the most. My wife is like, and I watched the video a lot at home in the morning on YouTube, and Linda's like, oh, we're gonna listen to the birds again, aren't we? Yes. But Austerity, the opening track, I like a lot. Colossal Shade, and I can't really say much more, but this is the album cover. Listen to it all the time, and I love Catatonia as much as maybe like I like Amorphous, like Nick does, and both of these bands never disappoint me. This is not a heavy record either. It's very mellow and melodic.
It's a little more
Atmospheric.
mellow than the last album.
It's a little more what?
Mellower than the last album.
I'd say it is a little more mellower, and I like that last
have that
album a
album
lot
too.
too.
It's on my
Yeah.
top list of the year.
Yeah.
They're a great band. Great band.
Catatonia.
They made the melancholy into an art form.
They sure did. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Ryan. Number
All
one.
right, so this is why I had to print out these little labels. So
Oh boy.
we're gonna
Butch,
go
get
all
ready.
point. Settle in there, Steve. Settle in. Buckle up your pants. I'm gonna go to Slovakia.
Of course.
Of
No
course.
kidding.
So no kidding. Simmer down there, Steve. We'll come over and block your ears. So this is a band that started as a black metal band, and it started almost like a incidental.
No
project.
kidding.
Yes, no kidding, Steve. Come on, duck in your mouth shut. So I'm just holding up the thing because I pre-ordered the album, but I pre-ordered with some other stuff that didn't come out yet, so I don't even have the physical copy yet. So I've been listening to it digitally for like 2-3 months now since it came out, but I'm still waiting on the record to show up. So the band is called Malacarpatan. There it
Jesus
is, right
Christ.
there. There it is. And the album is called Vertermus Caesar. Now
It sounds like drugs.
it
It's a
does-
household
right
name.
off the tongue.
So here's the thing with these guys. The first album was it was like kind of like I was talking about Varathorn, Mortuary Drave. It was almost like a love letter to like a lot of this weird Eastern European, Mediterranean black metal.
Yeah.
It's cool, but it was lo-fi, and it was like a bedroom black metal project, just kind of like they did an album and it caught on. So they're like, well, fuck it, let's keep this going. So then I got more serious, went to an actual studio, and they recorded several subsequent albums, which now they were starting to bring in a lot of Judas Priest riffs, a lot of classic heavy metal influence, a lot of Merciful Fate, a lot of old Metallica, like Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning Metallica here and there, a lot of old new wave of British heavy metal. And I like that. Everything they did, I liked. They had concept albums. They had lyrics about like Slovakian folklore, which was all kind of cool. I've talked about them a couple of times. So then they come out with this new album, and they blow me out of the water. They jettisoned a lot of the black metal. They went much more into a heavy metal direction, and now they started to bring in a lot of 70s prog metal or 70s prog rock. Sorry, not prog metal, prog rock. Specifically, the German band Eloy. I hear a lot of that, just like kind of that spacey. Not so much the English, not like King Crimson, not like Yes, Genesis. I don't hear a lot of that, but like Eloy, maybe a little of the French band Magma, like kind of weird 70s prog. And it makes it a fantastic album because now it's an album I can put on and it just takes you on a journey. You don't know what's going to happen. You got some riffs that could be out of Defenders of the Faith. Then it goes into a portion that's a little black metal-y. The vocals still kind of have that harshness. And then all of a sudden you're like in this spacey prog rock, could have been on like Oceans or Silent Echoes from Eloy, totally not metal at all, just weird spacey hard rock, and then it goes right back into the metal. Flows very, very well. It's a concept album, so it has a really nice flow to it. So all the songs are in Slovakian, so I'm not even gonna attempt not even gonna begin to butcher those. But it's a concept album about a Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, who was from Prague or lived in Prague for a while. Dabbled in a lot of the occult arts, was an alchemist. Since I was in Prague earlier this year on vacation, that kind of hit a note with me. I thought that was cool. So basically take a little Merciful Fate, some of that Eastern European black metal like Tormentor, who I got here, Mortuary Drapo I was talking about, a lot of Judas Priest, and a lot of weird 70s prog rock, and you mix it together, shake it up perfectly. Production's very immaculate. Like I said, the earlier stuff was a little raw. But this album, they got the guitarist for the Swedish heavy metal band Enforcer to record it, and it gives it a much more traditional, classic, big 80s heavy metal sound to it. Big, powerful drums. There's none of that like really kind of reverb heavy like black metal sound, which I love. But it doesn't fit this album. This is just a classic heavy metal album, a lot of prog, little black metal, and it takes you on a journey. I put the album on, put it on headphones, like you guys were saying, like walking around on a winter day. It's like that kind of album. Like I have to listen to the whole album in its entirety because it flows almost like one long song. And yeah, it's It's about 45, 50 minutes long. Perfect. I just walk around, let the whole thing play on headphones. Fucking awesome. To me, I bought a lot of albums this year. This, as soon as I started putting together this list, this was an easy number one. And I liked this band before. I liked everything they did. It was actually Alan from Nick's favorite band, Primordial, there, who posted them on Facebook a long time ago when I was on the internet or on Facebook still. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. Checked it out. And then ever since then, I've been a fan. But even by their good standards, this blows them out of the water. But if you like stuff like Insomnium, Opeth, Catatonia, these bands that everybody knows already, you would love this new Malacarpaton album. The earlier ones, maybe not, a little more black metal-y. But yeah, like if you like, I'll tell you right now, if you like Opeth Blackwater Park, you're doing yourself a disservice by not checking this out, because it's that same, doesn't sound like that, but it's that same quality.
Keep it up there. Keep it up there.
Okay, so it's for Thomas Caesar. Yeah, this is why I printed these, because I'm like, I don't have the album in front of me to show. I can show you the artwork.
Nick, that guy plays on a hockey team for sure. That could be somebody's last name. That.
Well, the song titles, like I said, are all in Slovakian, and they're not short. They're like 15-word titles, because it's all about, it tells this narrative. So I have to run it through Google Translate to figure out what the fuck they're talking about. It tells a cool story. It's a cool album. It's a good concept album, but I don't speak Slovakian, so I don't want to butcher.
Fucking rule. They fucking rule. They really
and I've been able to see them a couple times, and they put on a great show.
So
they come out with like fucking capes and everything. It's just awesome. We saw them in Brooklyn, I think, a couple of years ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're just one of the best current, like, newer heavy metal bands. They're just doing their own thing now. They kind of started as like a homage, and now they're just off doing their own thing. Don't give a fuck what anybody else is doing in their own little world. You're like, we want to put a little 70s prog in there, a little Judas Priest, fuck it. And it sounds great. So that is an easy number one for me for this year.
Wow.
What I got.
Cool. Chris, you're number one.
All right. And just for a second to put the brakes on and back way the fuck up, I got all excited to recommend a Black Rainbows album to Craig. And the one I was thinking of is by this band, which is the Black Angels. It's a different band. But yeah, I don't know if you like this, Craig, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh man, Black Rainbows are good. No, I don't. No.
I love the Black Angels.
That's a cool album.
I'm writing it down.
I love them.
Black Angels. I don't know if it's your jam, Craig, but Karen likes them. I like them.
Do. I love them a lot.
You can always try them on.
Yep.
My favorite.
This is my album. We already talked about this. Well, Pete did. This is really, to me, just an incredible album. These guys, it's so fucking tight. They change gears so quickly and so fucking fast. The rhythms, the drums, it's just, I wonder if they could do this live. I'd love to see these guys live and see if they do.
Chris, what's the name of the band?
Oh, it's Ni Obliviscaris, and the album is called Exul.
Ryan, I think this might
they're
have more
great
letters
live,
than yours.
Christian. If you've never seen them, I've seen them
Right.
live.
Might.
They're very good. I actually didn't catch them. They were just at the Gramercy a couple weeks ago. I didn't make it to the show, but I saw them about before the pandemic up at in Worcester.
And then they do it, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because some of this stuff I would think it's like triggered drums and programming and whatever, because it's just so fast and so on. And like this album, the production is so clean. It's like so well crafted. Some people don't like that. Some people like a ragged edge, to music that's this heavy, but these guys are doing their own thing, and it's very, very complex, interesting, and heavy. They got a violinist in the band. It's like the only metal band I know that like uses the violin as much as these guys, and it's cool. It sounds great. And like Pete said, 2 singers, one guy does the clean stuff, one guy does the dirty stuff, but killer album if you like technical, almost proggy, heavy metal. So Ni Obliviscaris, I'll say it again, and maybe you can read it. I don't know.
I'm looking.
From Australia.
Yeah, Australia, mate.
Melbourne, right? They're from Melbourne.
Australia.
Melbourne.
Hey.
All right, let's go to South America for a little Brazilian power / prog metal. The latest from Angra, Cycles of Pain. Terrific album. I was into this band pretty heavy back in the 90s when they first kind of burst on the scene.
With Kiko.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yep. They've had a lot of good guitar players and a lot of good singers. Fabio Leone is the singer now. I kind of fell out of listening to them for a while. You do that sometimes with bands. You follow them for a while and they put
Me
out a
too.
lot of records. You start listening to other shit and you just kind of lose track of some bands. This is one of them. I like a lot of their earlier stuff, and I've listened to the last couple, but a lot of the ones in the middle I kind of never bothered to listen to. But this one is really good. It's very melodic, lots of great guitar playing, some great keyboard playing, big anthems, some heavy shit, some proggy stuff, a little bit of everything on here. Highly recommend it. The production is just amazing. They're on Atomic Fire Records now, which is basically that kind of split off from Nuclear Blast. So you got a lot of the Nuclear Blast bands went with that previous owner of Nuclear Blast to Atomic Fire. A lot of the others stayed, but yeah, Angra, Cycles of Pain, my top pick for today. Anybody got any honorables?
I do.
Plenty.
All right, we'll go back to the beginning. Nick, cycle back to you.
Oh, sure.
Oh, heck.
Yeah,
rattle them off.
First, one thing that when I mentioned that band Finwolf before, two corrections. One, it's only one guy, and he does all the instruments. And what the long album title means is When the Last Leaf Falls. So that makes it a little more accessible for you. Yeah. So I would say I'm gonna put up there a electro gothic sort of Sisters of Mercy meets 80s new wave band called Ritual Howls. They're from Detroit. They are sort of, I kind of stumbled into them, and it's like real beat driven, it's not quite a DJ. I think they have a live drummer, but it's really awesome, like goth electro rock stuff. A little different from what I usually pick. Definitely that Tanith album, Malacarpatan, Mortuary Drape, fucking Varathron, Prong, the new Shooter album, Norwegian black metal, Helvegger. That album's really good. Bunch of stuff you guys will never hear of, like Minenwerfer, which is this crazy black metal, like two trains crashed into each other while cats fuck. Remember? I said
I
that.
remember.
I remember
Yeah,
that exact analogy was displayed yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Minenwerfer is from California. They sound like they're from hell. It's just all about World War One, and the songs are really. It's. I wouldn't even recommend it to you guys. It's really fucking painful to listen to. But
I'm going to talk about a band, but I don't want you to listen to the band. I'm just going to talk about it.
Listen to them at your own risk.
We'll
They are
discuss
not
it amongst
melodic.
yourselves.
Just because you said it, I gotta listen to it.
Yeah,
now.
it's like I'm going to tell you about it, but don't listen.
Yeah, the album's called Fear Vaults, and it's just all about fucking. It's like being in the bottom of a trench, getting hit with fucking shells in World War One. I mean, they really beautiful. Talk about industrial. Cans mentioned the mighty Godflesh. Ryan got me into a band called Ash Prison. Let's be Ash,
I
not
got it.
ass. Ash Prison.
Yesterday.
Remember Karen? Ash with an H. Yeah, the album's called Future Torn, and they're from I think they're from
I got it right there.
California.
Got it right there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
really, really great industrial, like really dark industrial, kind of like what Cans was saying with Godflesh. They kind of do the same kind of thing, but it's a little different, obviously. Yeah, that's really I mean, I could throw out a whole bunch of shit nobody's heard of, but Marduk, Overkill, that Scorched album,
we've heard of
really fucking
Overkill.
good. Well, yeah, I'm kind of avoiding the ones that I have to like fucking explain, but yeah, Marduk, Overkill, and Insomnium, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Awesome.
Ralph, you got any?
Oh
Yep.
boy.
Keeler bring this one up. Crypta. This was really hard keeping this out of my top 5. This is an amazing album. I like it more than the debut. Unbelievable Brazilian female fronted band. Obituary, latest album. Dying of Everything. Just great flow
Nice.
to this album. Another legendary old school death metal band still going after all these years, like with Autopsy and Cannibal Corpse and all of them making my list. Suffocation's latest one. I'm wearing old school hat, but yeah, it's the first, the debut with Ricky Myers singing, first one without Frank, and it's amazing. It's he's not a clone of Frank, but it's a great debut, and it's good to see that they're going to keep going with this new lineup, and he's doing a great job. I'm sure he can sing the old songs really good like Frank would, but he's keeping it a little bit more himself for this. Not a clone, like I said. And then Sadis, latest, another great old school band, still putting shit out. Overkill, been mentioned a bunch of times. One of the most consistent bands. Triumph of Death, Tom Warrior's tribute to Hellhammer. This is a live album that came out just last month, and it's comprised from 3 shows. And I know Scal and Bryce and Aloe went to the Hell's Hero show, and some of the songs are from that show on this.
It was fucking good.
Another live album is the Live Mayhem that came out this year. And here's an old one from 1967, but it just got released. It's got 2 songs that aren't on anything.
Doors.
Never been heard before. Yeah, The Doors, and triple CD limited edition. That's it.
Next.
Greg?
Just a couple. I really liked Jim Baki's Max Boogie Overdrive CD that came out just recently. It's a good fun stoner rock kind of record. And then Aggression, Frozen Aggressors from Mr. Denny Barth. Just wanted to throw a horns out to him, and just what a thrash lord he is, and look forward to seeing him on some Rock Fantasy episodes with Steve and Count Ralphus.
I would have threw them out, but I didn't have a copy of that. If I had a copy,
I don't have a copy of it either. My one stop didn't have any of them. So I'm waiting for Danny to send me some.
Rob?
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Huskwood, recommended by Pete.
Nice.
I bought the whole catalog on Bandcamp. Excellent desert rock, melodic, heavy. I love the guy's vocals. Next, from Italy, one of my favorite prog metal bands of all time, DGM.
Absolutely.
This album kicks ass. It just came out and it's kicking my ass.
Yep.
I probably would have put it higher, but it just came out. I really need to absorb it some more. So, speaking of prog, from Denmark, my buddies, Annabas Gate, another great album, came out early in the year. Great album, superb album. New singer from Delane. I know Mr. Keeler likes Delane too.
I do.
Great album too. Another great album released. You guys all Overkill, of course.
Yes.
Bobby Blitz still doing it, man. And one of my favorite bands from Germany.
Udo.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
haven't heard that. Is it really good?
It's good. Well, you know, Pete, catchy. It's got a lot of catchy riffs to it. Definitely.
That was not released in the States yet. I think it's only released overseas, if I'm not mistaken.
Production is great. Oh,
I tried to get it in the shop. It's not out yet. You got it somewhere.
Yeah, I've got it too. It's good.
Here's one for Catino. There you go, Winger.
Winger's great.
Another good album.
I was gonna mention that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great album. You know, I mean, I like them. And then this one's kind of a sleeper. I didn't like it. I didn't like the first album, but I really starting to like this album. And I know that Pete likes it a lot too. KK's Priest.
Yeah, I like it quite.
Great. Second record's great.
It's a great album. It really is. I might have to go see this show. So anyway, those are my honorables right now. I mean, there's other ones, but Winery Dogs, you know. That was another good album this year.
Cool. Karen.
Okay, I've got Uncle Acid and the Deadbeat Slaughter on First Avenue, their live record. Overkill, Scorch, the OCs, Intercepted Message, The Damned, Darkadelic, Blood Ceremony, Bongzilla, Dab City, and Dope Lord, Songs for Satan.
Yes. Yes. Good stuff. Yeah, that Blood Ceremony is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Butch.
Rob already said Winger 7. Red Beach is killing on that.
Yeah.
So sticking with the guitar player thing, the new Last in Line Jericho, Vivian Campbell is ripping on that.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like, to me, like a great comeback record. The new In Flames record,
Wow.
Gone, that's smokes.
I gotta check that out, Butch. I haven't listened to it. I think I've heard some songs on like Liquid
It's
Metal.
heavy. It's great.
Yeah.
So I forgot who it was. Someone had mentioned the Elegant Weapons already. That's Richie Faulkner. So all my stuff is guitar player driven, obviously. And then the one that no one, I don't know if you guys have heard, any of you guys have heard this one. A singer that I love a lot. Again, I found him from Vivian Campbell being in the River Dogs, Rob Lamoth. A phenomenal, soulful, bluesy voice. He's got a new band called Cross Country Driver. And the name of that record is The New Truth. And that's really good too. So a little bit across the board there.
Cool. Steve?
So definitely, I forgot about the Obituary record a little bit. I had it at the shop, but I didn't bring it home. But yeah, the Obituary, Dying of Everything. Everyone's mentioned the name of Blevascaris.
I haven't.
You didn't. Well, I think, but you probably like them actually. The Overkill, Scorched, which this is signed by Bobby Blitz. He gave it to me at one of my parties. And no one mentioned this yet. Kind of under the radar this year. Keep a Kalisten from Norway.
Yeah,
Put out.
never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think you would. And of course, another Brazilian female thrashers, Nervosa with Jailbreak. I think they got that name from a band that Butch heard of before. But it's not the cover. And the new Suffocation. That's pretty much what I got. I'll have my list, and we'll be doing an episode on my channel with my crew. We're gonna do a couple Rock Fantasy Files, dust off the computer in a couple weeks. So
cool.
But thanks everybody. I gotta run.
All right, Steve.
See ya.
See ya.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holidays. That's right.
Take care.
Happy holidays, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
All right, Steve.
Bye.
All right, Ryan.
I got a few. Nick already said one, so I want to show someone we haven't seen on this episode yet. We don't see very often on this show. Ready for it? A tape.
Yes.
A tape. Look at that. Fucking real. Look, I'm gonna open it for you. A real cassette tape. See? This is that's what was available. So it didn't come on CD, and I didn't buy the vinyl. Ash Prison. This is not Ash Prison. Ash Prison. This is an industrial album, but it's very classic 90s. So if you like Skinny Puppy, KMFDM, Old Ministry, Frontline Assembly, I don't want to say Nine Inch Nails, but yeah, that is kind of an applicable reference. So it's heavy, a lot of guitars, but it's dancey. It has those dance beats like a lot of those bands did. Yeah, great album. I do have a tape deck. Let's see what else we got here. My favorite American rock and roll band. They released their 5th album from the beautiful city of Chicago, Illinois. The band is High Spirits, and the album is Safe on the Other Side. Studio, it's just one guy, Chris Black, but he has a whole lineup he does for live shows. But in the studio, it's just him, does every instrument. It's just good, high energy, super intense, upbeat, positive, fun, fist in the air, awesome rock and roll. Leans a little towards metal, but you know what? They actually do a cover of the Europe song Memories. So when I say Europe, like old Europe, like it's got a little of that vibe. It's just super energetic. Chris, he's not a phenomenal. He's a great guitar player, but he's not like a virtuoso. So it doesn't have that, but it's just catchy. Every song's got great lyrics, great sing-along choruses. He puts a lot of emphasis on to like making stuff really kind of like upbeat, catchy, and memorable. So riffs, vocal hooks, big emphasis. And this album, it's like I said, it's their 5th one. It's as good as anything they've done. You're like high energy, good rock and roll. Like I said, to me, the best American rock and roll band right now by far. Love these guys. Seen them a ton. They put on a great show. If they ever come to town, well worth going to see.
I'd have to hear them hear them do Memories to see what he does with John Norum on that.
He's not a virtuosic singer, but he's got a great voice and he carries the songs and he has a really good knack for writing like vocal hooks and like melodies that make stick in your head. So, and plus it's just a one-man band. So for him to kind of pull it all together like that, it takes something. So, and the last one, I want to pick out something weird. I know it's weird. It's a self-released album from a weird British band that sounds like we took Motorhead, made all the lyrics kind of about fantasy and like old English folklore. And if you're familiar with the 80s English band Amoebics, there's a little of that in there. The guy from Amoebics went on to a band called Tal Cross with some of the guys from Voivod. Then they broke up. But the band is called, wait, hold on. I got my little fucking props here. Brett Walder's Heathen Doom, Summon the Gatekeepers. Yeah, this dude makes Lemmy sound like if you had Lemmy smoke 30 packs a day for like 100 years. I don't know how he gets so fucking raspy and like deep, but yeah, it's cool. Here's the album. It was self-released, which is why I wanted to mention it, because I think it's flown under everybody on the entire planet's radar because I don't even know who the hell told me about him, but like if it wasn't a band I already knew about, like I would have never stumbled across this by accident because they're kind of weird. They don't really fit in anywhere. But if you like Motorhead, you think Motorhead kind of playing some weird fantasy stuff is cool. Yeah, check it out. Cool.
Show me that label again.
Hold on, I got you here. They're a weird band. They're very odd. I've showed them to several people, and they're like, I don't know. The vocals are like
What the hell is Brett Waldius?
I'd have to Google it. I don't know. They're very English in a tough to describe way. First time I heard them, like this band's got to be from fucking England, and sure as shit they are. Yeah, just a cool band. Let's see. My favorite reissue of the year, going back to Italy here, is a cool old Italian heavy metal band. It's been around since the 70s. But much like Sirith Ungol, they didn't get their album out into the 80s. They just fucked around for years. Pentagram was like that too. The band's called Dark Quarter. Just if you like Sirith Ungol, if you like Manila Road, Satan, like just that good classic old heavy metal. This is their debut album. I finally got a reissue of it.
A lot of those bands don't want to have a name that just rolls off the tongue, do they?
They don't.
Dark
They enjoy being difficult. But this band I talk about a lot. This is a Voivod album where they re-recorded all these old songs, and it's cool. I don't think I can think of it. Actually, Uriah Heep did it, and it didn't suck. But like 99% of the times, you have a band's like, "Oh, we're gonna record the old shit." It's almost always garbage. I'm struggling to think of like another example, but these aren't better than the originals. But it's cool. I don't know. They kind of updated some songs. Am I going to listen to it all the time? No. Am I going to listen to it over the originals? Probably not. But I don't know. They did a good job. So that was Morgoth Tales from Voivod. And just to show that I'm not always listening to weird, obscure shit that no one's heard of, I did buy 2 big name famous albums this year when I loved both of them. The first one was the new Depeche Mode album, Memento Mori. Really good. Their best in a while.
I didn't
And
even
the
know they
other
had
one
one.
was, what's up?
I didn't even know they had a new album.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
really good. It's a little dark and morbid, but listen to the song Ghosts again on YouTube. It was, I guess, it's like the single off it. Fucking awesome. And the other big name album I bought, which I really, really enjoyed, I've been listening to a lot, is the new Rolling Stones album.
There
Happy
you go. I
Diamonds.
was hoping someone would bring it up today.
Which, yeah, I'm kind of surprised no one said it, but I mean, I
I
don't
was
know. I
keeping
guess,
it to metal tonight. That's why.
yeah, and I figured that was like a heavier kind of thing. So I wanted this album's really, really, really fucking good. Been playing it a lot. Unfortunately, I think losing Charlie Watts seemed to like kick their asses into finally recording another album. So it sucks that that's what it took, but they did it, and it's fucking awesome. Charlie does his song. He does play in a couple songs that I guess they recorded a while ago. But yeah, if you haven't heard this, and I'm sure everybody has, but if you haven't, check it out. And
I haven't.
you will like it. It sounds
Yeah.
Depeche Mode and Marduk
I
both put
know.
out an album called Memento Mori this year.
the same name.
Yes.
And so I like the
Same
thing
year.
about this that kind of threw me, and it's not a bad complaint. It's like the new Ozzy albums. His voice sounds like it's a fucking robot. Because I'm like, Ozzy, like, all right, he can't really sing like that anymore. And it sounds weird. But Mick Jagger on this sounds phenomenal. And he's not a young guy. So I'm like, is he really? Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Maybe his vocals are still that good. But if the guy, and I think it's the same producer that did both the new Ozzy and this album, you know what? Whatever it did, it works because Mick sounds phenomenal on this. Every song.
I don't know. I saw the Stones the last time they came around, and he sounded really good.
So that and I would readily accept that. But yeah, every song on this, he sounds top of his game, and it sounds like old Stones, which I think is what they realized everybody wanted. Not that I like a lot of the later stuff too, but yeah, this just sounds like classic, exactly what you want from a Rolling Stones album. So that's all I got.
I want Mick Taylor.
He takes care of himself, Mick, and he dances every day, like 2-3 hours. He dances. That's what he does. That's his exercise.
That's his that pays the bills for him. So
Yeah.
you got to do.
Little twinkle toes.
Chris, got any left?
I got a few. Tomb Mold, great fucking death metal album. Kind of reminds me of remember when that Gruesome album came out, and you're like, oh yeah, got some old school death metal going on. This is the same kind of thing. Name of the album is The Enduring Spirit. If you like traditional death metal, you'll like this. I also had this Ice Age album, Waves of Lost and Power. This is great prog metal. these guys are kind of back from the dead. They, haven't made an album in forever. And then they come back, what is it, 22 years later, 21 years later?
21, I think, yeah.
Make a kick-ass album. And this one, I debated whether to put it on here or not, because this is some re-recorded shit. But I like this. I think these versions of these songs are better than the originals. At least they sound better. I mean, that first Sepultura, or this is the first full-length Sepultura album. The fucking production on that is not as good as this.
Oh, that's an F in the front?
Huh?
That's an F in the front?
Cavalera.
That
It's a
was-
C. Morbid Visions.
I don't know.
Cavalera Brothers from Sepultura.
They
Yeah,
I didn't know what to think, but when me and Nick saw them at Maryland Death Fest and they played Beneath the Remains and Arise, within like 10 seconds of opening the first song, we're like, yep, this is fucking awesome.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. It just sounds better to me. I like having a modern production on these songs for this album. So that's what I had.
Cool. I only got one I got Tigers of Pantang, Bloodline. Great new release from new wave of British heavy metal
I heard
legends.
that one.
The last couple have been really, really good. It's amazing how many of those old classic new wave of British heavy metal bands are like on a roll, like in more recent years.
I didn't know they put out a new album till this very fucking second.
Well, they hired a guy to sound like the old guy to make them sound a little bit better.
I'm surprised you didn't say Uriah Heep.
Well,
Chaos.
Oh, that's
because I'm
Oh.
saving that for something else.
Came out too early in the year.
It was good though. It was real good.
Yeah.
Yes, more on that later, as I always say. So
Yeah.
cool. Well, there you have it, everybody. Our favorite picks of 2023 down in the comments section. List some of your favorite albums down below, and if you heard some things talked about tonight that sound interesting, go investigate them and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time.
Damn time.
Have a great, happy holiday season, everybody. We'll see you on the flip side. For Nick and Ralph and Craig and Rob and Karen and Butch and Mr. Scow and Cans, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later from the Hudson Valley Squares. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Go Hawks.
Ciao.